guys, good morning. My name is Vinay Kumar. I work for Karvi Computer Share Private Limited. As I am teaching this MCSE for you, this is totally session which we are going to connect on MCSE 2K12 server. So this is basic demo class where we are going to start. And in this session, we'll be discussing about different kinds of topics where it is related to networking as well as server client and this kind of information. So whatever the information we are going to discuss, each and everything we are going to discuss through practical. And our MCSE 2012 server. First of all, we will be starting about this MCSE 2012 server, the basic things. So coming to this, we have many kind of certifications in this. So basically, whenever we go for the certifications part, so certification is nothing but it's a technical information where once if you get a certificate, simply we can say that you'll be certified in that particular technology, and you'll be acting as an expert for that particular solutions. That's what the certification states here. And we have different kinds of certificates and certifications in Microsoft terminologies. Okay, so coming to this Microsoft, we have n number of sessions, n number of certifications which belongs to Microsoft. And in this Microsoft, we have many kinds of certifications and classifications also. So basically, if you take Microsoft certifications, we have many kind of certifications. Like example, we can say on the database, we have different kinds of certifications. On the networking part, we have different kinds of certifications. Like this, we have different kinds of certifications. So coming to this, first starting from the certifications, we have different kinds of, as discussed, we have different kinds of certifications. So coming to this, the first certification is hardware certification, which is we call it as A+. So generally, this is called as, we can say, that A+. So coming to this A+ is nothing but this certification totally belongs to hardware. So basically, as an Microsoft certified engineer, you should know about the minimum things which are required to work with server operating systems, like how to install operating systems, and this everything you are going to get through this A+. And coming to this A+ certification is sponsored by CompTIA. So this CompTIA is nothing but it's an organization where it is going to take care of all whatever the information, that means like which belongs to hardware. Like we have different kinds of vendors in the industry, like HP, Lenovo, Dell. Like this, we have many kinds of vendors. These all vendors formed a group, and they named it as CompTIA. And once if you are certified with this CompTIA, simply we can say that you are the certified engineer or a certified solutions expert for hardware. In this, there are different kinds of certifications are available. So basically, coming to this hardware certifications means, like basically first one is which belongs to a basic level where you can work as a desktop engineer, and next you can work as a network engineer, and next you can work as a chip level engineer. So these are the different types of strategies which are there in A+. But A+, and same like this, we have one more certification, that is N+. So coming to this N+, N+ is nothing but simply we can say that it's totally networking concept. It's totally a networking concept. So this certification is also sponsored by these both certifications are sponsored by CompTIA. So coming to this CompTIA, whenever we go with this hardware certifications, basically these two are simply we can say that the basic concepts which are required for MCSE. So in our KT, now onwards, like our training is kernel training, right? So I'll be spelling it as KT. Okay. So in our KT, basically here what happens, like we'll be giving the basics of networking as well as basics of hardware requirements which are required for MCSE. So basically here in networking, see, coming to this hardware, I think all the people, you know, like what are the parts will be there in PC, and how it works, and what is CPU, what is hard disk, and these kind of things everyone knows. But coming to this N plus, so N plus is nothing but simply we can say it's totally a networking concept. So coming to this networking concept, here we are going to discuss about many topics, like basically will in this N plus we'll be discussing about transmission media. See, coming to this transmission media, whenever we go for this transmission media, this acts as a major part of networking, because everywhere if you want to implement any network or something, so without having this transmission media, it is very difficult to implement. So this is a very basic concept where we are going to discuss in our N plus topic. And next, coming to this, we'll be discussing about uh, topologies. We'll be discussing about topologies where we have multiple topologies. Like in this basic topic, we are going to discuss like how to design a network, and after designing how it works, after that, like how the entire mechanism it is going to work in this topologies, and what kind of topologies we are going to use in the real time, and these things we are going to discuss. So that's about topologies. And next, coming to this, here again we are going to discuss about protocols. So basically, again, we are going to discuss about all these protocols. See, basically, coming to these protocols, we have a number of protocols. But what is meant by protocol, and how it works, and what are the different kinds of protocols are available? These things we are going to discuss in this networking topic. And later on, we'll be discussing about network devices. These are these are very important topic which belongs to network, because see, you people as an administrator, you will be working on many kind of devices, we can say. So whenever if you are trying to install something, or else if you want to communicate with any other devices, at least you should have a networking. Without having network, it is very difficult to connect the devices. So basically, here we'll be discussing how the network devices will help you to connect between the two or more PCs, and what kind of network devices are available, and how many types of network devices are available, and in which way we can use that network devices, and how it functions, and what kind of functioning it is happening in that. These each and everything we are going to discuss in this network devices concept. And later on, we'll be discussing about uh, so up to now we have about transmission media, topologies, protocols, network devices, and next we'll be knowing how the communication will be happening between two or more PCs, that is OSI layers. So coming to this, this is totally here we are going to discuss about OSI layers. So in this OSI layers, OSI is nothing but Open System Interconnect. In the name itself, it is there. It is called Open System Interconnect. So whenever we say Open System Interconnect, in this Open System Interconnect, this plays a major role when the communication is happening. In this, majorly will be discussing the layers, each and every layer of the operating system. I mean, why say layers? That means how the network will work, and what kind of data will be transferred in the network, and how that data will be divided into bits and bytes. These things we will be discussing in this OSI layers. And later on, we'll be starting uh, IP addressing. So in this we'll be starting IP addressing also. So here in this IP address, like what are the types of IP addresses and how many types of IP addresses are available and how we can use these IP addresses. These things we are going to discuss. So this is simply, we can say that the basic concepts which are existing in our networking. So coming to this here, these are the topics which we are going to discuss in the basic things. So whenever we go for this IP addressing, in this IP addressing we'll be discussing what are the versions of IP addressing and different kinds of IP addressings which are there. These things we are going to discuss. Okay, so coming to this networking, these are simply, we can say that the basic concepts which are required to join, I mean we can say that to go with MCSE 2K12 server, because like if you know the basics, then only you can go with advanced options. So basically this networking, in this networking, these are the major topics what you are going to discuss. Apart from this, we'll be discussing some other different concepts which belongs to this networking. Okay, so these are the major topics which we are going to discuss in this networking, and after this we'll be discussing about the other topics like cable crimping and how to assign the IP addresses and what kind of IP addresses we can assign. These kind of things also we are going to discuss. So this is totally about the basic class where you're going to get the basic idea on networking. So once if you know this, then you are ready to go with MCSE 2012 server. So what do you mean by MCSE? So coming to this, see, MCSE is nothing but it's so MCSE 2K12 server or else 2012 server. So coming to this MCSE 2012 server, here we'll be discussing totally about 2012 server. So basically MCSE is nothing but simply we can say that Microsoft Certified System Engineer. So coming to this Microsoft Certified System Engineer, so basically what do you mean by system engineer? So whenever we go with this, see in this also there are different kinds of stages which are existing in 2012 server. Okay, so coming to this Microsoft certifications, we have n number of certifications. See, so basically coming to this, we have the first certification is MCT, Microsoft Certified Technician. So coming to or else we can say that Microsoft Certified Trainer. This is the top level certification which we have on Microsoft. And coming to this, see, we have many multiple certifications which are existing in Microsoft. So the basic certification is MCITP. MCITP is nothing but Microsoft Certified IT Professional, that is Information Technology Professional, where it covers, if you are certified in a single paper of Microsoft, then it is called as, we can say that, MCITP. So basically here we have other different kinds of certifications which are existing. Coming to this, we have multiple certifications like MCSA, MCSE, and MCDBA. Like this, we have multiple certifications are also available. So coming to this MCSE, so this is nothing but simply we can say that system engineer. So or else we can say that solution expert. So in this solution expert part, before this we have one more certification which is called as MCSA. Microsoft Certified System Administrator. Okay, so coming to this system engineer, in this part we'll be discussing different kinds of concepts which belongs to Microsoft. In this, majorly we'll be discussing about the concepts like how the networking will happen, how the server can be configured, how the client can be configured, and this kind of concepts which are related to server and client concepts we'll be discussing in this. So basically, whenever we go with Microsoft, the major concepts which we are going to discuss in this is, for example, the major topic is Active Directory. So basically, in this Active Directory, we'll be discussing a lot of topics like how the Active Directory domains and trusts will work, and how to configure a domain, how to configure a users, how to configure a user sessions, uh, how to configure the securities, and how to configure the OUs management, and like this. These are the examples of different kinds of topics which are existing in Microsoft technologies. So, like this, we'll be discussing many more topics in this 2K12 server. So, this is the advanced thing. That means, like, we can say that this is the system engineer part where we are going to discuss. See, first of all, you should know the major difference between what is system administrator and what is system engineer. So, coming to this, system administrator is nothing but simply we can say that who manages the network is nothing but simply we can say he is called as system administrator. That means someone will come and someone will design the network, and you'll be acting as a support person for this particular network. So that person is called as, we can say that, system administrator. And next, coming to this system engineer, whenever we go with the system engineer, see, you have rights to design a network. You have a plan to design a network, and you are capable to design a network as per the requirement of the of the company or organization. Simply we can say that's what we call it as system engineer. So basically, a system engineer will places a major role in the organization because he places a major role. I said, why he places a major role is, see, he has to look into the security loopholes. He has to look into the designing of a network. He has to look into the how the network designing will happen, and where the loopholes will occur. Each and everything he has to look into this. So because of that reason only, the system engineer will have a lot of preference in the organization, as well as he will be working as a solutions expert for the organization in the part of designing a network. So next, we'll be seeing the 2K12 server part. Let us start our 2K12 server. So first of all, as we discussed, Microsoft Certified Solutions Expert, that is Windows Server Infrastructure. So coming to this is totally a Windows Server Infrastructure. And see, as discussed, we have got some certifications which belongs to other things also, where the kernel, that is KT, is offering, that is Cisco certifications and Red Hat certifications also. So after finishing this MCSE, if you go for other certifications, it will be helpful for you, because nowadays the organizations which we have, all the companies are looking for multiple technologies where where the organizations are asking for multiple technologies where the people can work on multiple solutions. Okay, so because of that reason, majorly we can take this other certifications from KT also. Basically, now we'll be starting our MCSE. Today is I'll be starting the basic concepts of this MCSE, that is Microsoft Certified Solutions Expert or System Engineer. So basically, we have different kinds of Microsoft versions which are existing. So coming to this, so basically we have, see here, coming to this Windows 2003 server. See, as we discussed, we have multiple versions. Before these also, we have some more versions which are called as 2000 server, as well as we have NT server. So nowadays that are almost outdated, and we are not getting any support for 2K3 server from Microsoft. It's totally disabled, and people are not giving any support for Microsoft 2003 server, that is Windows 2003 server. So and nowadays all the organizations are also upgrading for 2K8 server as well as 2K12 server, because there was no support for Microsoft 2003 server. So because of that reason, uh, organizations are simply migrating from low end to high end, so that's what here it is happening. And see, nowadays every application and every part is looking for, every organization is looking for performance. So coming to this 2008 server and 2012 server, these are the platforms which works on 32-bit as well as 64-bit. So, and in 2012 server, it's totally a 64-bit platform where we are going to work. And nowadays, each and every operating system which we are getting is 64-bit. And here you may ask, what is 64-bit operating system and what is 32-bit operating system? See, here the processing of data is nothing but so basically the calculations of processing is, if it process 32-bit of data of once, it is called as 32-bit operating system. If it process 64-bit of data at once, then it is called as 64-bit operating system. So in this, whenever we go with this 2K12 server, we'll be discussing totally on 2K12 server. See, coming to this, here we have multiple operating systems on the screen, which are, one is Windows Server 2003 operating system. See, in this, if you want to get certification, you can write MCSE, that is Microsoft Certified Systems Engineer. So in this Microsoft Certified Systems Engineer, majorly here we are going to discuss 7 papers, but now it is outdated, and will not discuss about this 2K3 as well. And coming to this Windows 2008 server, so coming to this Windows 8 2000 server, see, in this majorly we have two variants, 2008 server and as well as 2008 server R2 versions are available in the market. See, in this see, what are the features which are including in 2008 and 2000, the same features are there in 2012 also, and few features got added in 2012 server. Okay, so that we'll discuss, and while we go for in depth of this subject, there we are going to discuss about this 2012 server. So, and next one is Windows 2012 server, that is Microsoft Certified Solutions Expert. So coming to this, we have already discussed this 2012 server, what is Microsoft Certified Solutions Expert also. So as discussed, see, Microsoft Certified Solutions Expert. Here we have different kinds of papers. Papers is nothing but, it's simply, we can say that if you want to write an exam, the Microsoft is going to release a paper code which belongs to particular technologies. That means, like if you take server administration also, in that server administration we have multiple server administration techniques. So in that the Microsoft is divided into different kinds of papers, and each and every paper code, as mentioned, it is. See, first coming to this Microsoft Certified Solutions Expert, in this, see, as discussed, Microsoft Certified Solutions Associate or System Administrator. For this, you have to write 3 papers. So basically, whenever we go for this MCSA, in this you have to finish 3 papers, which are 70-410. That is the first paper of your basic 2012 server, where you are going to discuss how to configure 2012 server, how to install 2012 server, and how to configure the basic things like IP address and these things we are going to discuss in this 7410. That is the first paper of your 2K12 server. And coming to this second one, that is 7411. So coming to the 7411, 7411 is nothing but administering Windows Server 2012. So the 7411 administering Windows 2012 server, that is majorly here you'll be configuring some services which are related to our 2K12 server. That is nothing but majorly we can say that configuration of Active Directory or this kind of things will be included in this 7411 paper. And 7412 paper, that is simply we can say that configuring advanced Windows Server 2012 services. Coming to this, here we will be discussing the major topics which are included in 2K12 server. So whenever we go for this 7412, in the 7412 paper we'll be discussing the topics like Active Directory, DNS and these things. And see, once if you write these three papers, then you are called as Microsoft Certified Solutions Associate or Microsoft Certified System Administrator. But basically coming to 2012 server, see, these are the basic things what you're going that means like in these three papers you'll be learning something which is related to administering. So if you want to go with a designing of a network, then you should go with 7413 and 7414. Once if you come for this 7413, that is designing and implementing a server infrastructure. So now here in this 7413 we will be discussing it totally about how to how to design and implement a server infrastructure. Means that you are responsible for designing of a network, designing of a server, implementing of server, and how the implementations will happen, and how many based on the requirement of the organization. So you'll be designing and implementing a server infrastructure. And next, coming to this, implementing an advanced server infrastructure. So coming to this advanced server infrastructure, here we'll be discussing the major things like which are related to this designing and implementing. So coming to this, in this we will be discussing the major topics like VPNs, RARSS, and these kind of topics we'll be discussing in this Microsoft Certified Solutions Expert. See, once if you write these all 5 papers, so then it is called as simply we can say that Microsoft Certified Solutions Expert. So whenever you finish all these 5 papers exams, then only it is called as Microsoft Certified Solutions Expert. So this that's all about simply we can say that certifications and its papers. Next, coming to this editions. So coming to this editions of operating systems. So basically here we have different kinds of editions. Okay, so see, if you compare between each and every version, simply we can say that 2003 is different version and 2008 is one version and 2012 is one version. So coming to this, we have different kinds of editions again in this. In 2003 we have standard edition, enterprise edition, data center edition and web edition. But see, each totally it supports 11 roles. A role is nothing but it's a function. Or simply we can say that it's a service where it is going to give some functionalities. So that is called as we can say that it's a role. So coming to this 2003 server, in this 2003 server we have different kinds of editions which are related to different kinds of functionalities. Yes, coming to this 2K8 server also we have different kinds of editions, that is standard, enterprise, data center, web server. And see here it supports 17 roles. And here you have an option called as full and core. So Full is nothing but which supports the graphical utility. Core is nothing but simply we can say that it's a command prompt utility. This thing we'll be discussing later on, like what is the major difference between full and core and how it works. And coming to this 2K12 server, see this 2K12 server, the major I said nothing will be differ from 2K8 server and 2K12 server. Only few features are differ from 2K8 and 2K12 server. Only two new roles got added in 2K12 server. Okay, and in this we have in this 2K3 server and 2K8 server we have same versions. One is standard, enterprise, data center, and web server. See, standard is nothing but simply we can say that it is used for a small scale organization. And coming to this enterprise is nothing but which will be used in the enterprise organization, that is a big organization. And coming to this data center, see these are especially used for data center operations, where if you want to implement any data center, in that implementation of data center will be using data center edition. And next, web server, majorly the web server will be used for web applications, where if you want to host the web applications, most probably will be using this web server operating system. And next, coming to this, see almost in 2003 and 2008 the same editions are there. And coming to this 2K12 server, in this 2K12 server we have different kinds of editions. That is, the first edition is foundation edition. So basically the foundation edition we have majorly it will be used for the small scale industries, like the small organizations simply we can say. And coming to this essential version, in this essential version we have multiple features. Again it is almost like a foundation version, and there are a few features which got added in this essential version. And coming to this data center, see this data center operating system which supports Hyper-V. And coming to this foundation and essentials, these may not support Hyper-V more. And coming to this data center and standard edition, we have multiple features where it is going to support the Hyper-V and these features. So data center will be used in the high-end locations, where if you want to implement the data center. And coming to the standard edition, so in this standard edition majorly it will be used in the organizations which will be used. So these are the different kinds of editions which will be used in the 2K12 server. Next, so coming to this 2012 server, as we discussed, these are the different features. See, foundation and full core. As I said, it's very limited users. That is, the maximum is we can go with 15 users. And as we discussed, there is no virtualization. And coming to this essential also, it supports for 25 users, and as discussed, no virtualization. So basically these are the two basic versions we can say. See, if you have a small organization which is consisting of the maximum 25 users, then you can go with foundation or essential. But in this, there is no virtualization option, or as we can say that is Hyper-V, which is there in Microsoft. So that option is not available in this two operating systems, or as we can say that in that two editions. And next, coming to this data center and standard edition. So coming to this data center edition, so basically in data center edition, as I said, like if you want to implement a data center, we'll be using this data center edition. And this data center edition will support unlimited users as well as unlimited virtualizations. So that, see, this entire specifications are totally depending on your hardware. See, if you are having a hardware, based on your hardware only, these entire specifications are defined. So assume that if your hardware is very less, and if you want to install data center, and if you want to support 10,000 users in data center edition, and if you want to support unlimited virtual machines, means it is not possible. See, based on the hardware only, everything will defines. So if you have a good hardware, so here the supporting of virtual machines as well as users also will be more. And next, coming to the standard or full core edition, in the standard edition, the users will be unlimited, but here a limitation for virtual machines. Only two virtual machines will be installed. So that's all about this editions of 2K12 server and the more features of this 2K12 server. Yes. Next, coming to this 2K12 server edition. This is basically, here we have multiple options. We have multiple options in this, like coming to this data center, standard, essentials and foundation editions. So in this, like majorly we go with essentials and foundation. So in this essentials and foundations, we don't have major features. And coming to this data center and standard edition, so data center will have high virtualized environment. And coming to this major features of this is unlimited virtual instance rights, and the maximum licensing is processor based and clients per cal based. And these are the different types of 2012 server editions. And next, coming to this, these are nothing but server hardware manufacturing companies. So basically we have multiple number of companies in the organization, that is HP Proliant, BL460C, Gen8, and IBM Tower Server System, Dell, PowerEdge. Like this, we have many number of people who gives the hardware environment to the different kinds of organizations. And these are the topics which we are going to discuss in 2K12 server roles and features. So system administration, Active Directory domain services, additional domain controller, FSMO roles, member server and client, user accounts, delegation control, share folders, profiles, group policies, trust relationships, global catalog, sites and RODCs. And these are the major topics what we are going to discuss, that is DHCP, NAT, services, WSUSS, and these things we are going to discuss in our 2K12 server. And this is what is Active Directory services. This thing we'll be discussing. So basically, how you will get, simply I can say that you have a gmail.com. So how you will be getting that gmail.com. And for example, if you work for a company called as Wipro, like with your name, you'll be getting wipro.com. That how you are going to get. These things we are going to discuss in this 2K12 server. That is the example of Active Directory. Later on, we'll discuss about this Active Directory concepts. And this is also same thing which belongs to Active Directory. That means how we can give the backup of Active Directory. So these things we'll be discussing in our other sessions. So any questions about this?